The Buffalo Bills made a lot of moves yesterday. They basically got all our friends.
Pretty much.
Right. Yep. A lot of them. All of them.
He's got rid of all of our friends on the team. Buffalo Bills looked at their roster and said, who has ever been on the Pat McAfee Show? We're going to cut him.
Yep. Get rid of them.
And that's why James Cook didn't say anything when he was on the show.
Right.
Yeah,
James Cook came on the show, and he only said like 40, 50 words for an entire conversation. Upbeat, joyful.
Yep.
He knew what was coming potentially.
Yes, he did.
Mitch Morse, love this man.
Yeah. The best.
One of the best appearances on our show that any person has ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Plugged in, dialed in, tried to stir some
Oh, yeah.
great personality, and an absolute
dog
on the field. But if you look down below, $8.5 million is, depending upon who you listen to and who's keeping track of the contracts, that's how much money they're saving on the cap next year. The Bills are one of 8 teams that are above the salary cap still right now at this exact moment. Jordan Poyer.
God.
I didn't get the chance to play the hand pan.
No.
The pan.
Yeah, the hand pan.
The hand pan.
Yeah.
The
Cool drum.
I wear no shoes and socks and
Exactly.
bang on this thing.
Yep.
He's like one of the most handsome guys, cool guys. His story is phenomenal. He's been a dog for the Bills for a long time.
Yep.
Last year was in a free agency, was looking around, ends up going back to the Bills. Was excited and thankful to go back to the Bills. I think he is going to give probably a very emotional thank you to Buffalo and everything that has happened if he moves on. There's going to be teams that are interested in all these guys, obviously, but Jordan Poyer, he's a good friend of the – here he is. Here's a hand
There he
pan.
is.
Crushing
Yeah.
it.
There's a hand pan right there.
No shoes.
That's Jordan Poyer. Got a meditation room in the building.
Yeah.
Whatever team picks him up needs to.
Jordan Poyer cleared our chakras.
He did.
right.
Live on air.
Yeah.
Good friend of the program. He's no longer with the Buffalo Bills, but if you look at the bottom there, that is the amount of money that they're saving.
Yep.
$5.7 million in the salary cap. Tre'Davious White, dog, $10.2 million saved on.
Ooh.
Deontay Hardy, wide receiver, $4.2 million. He had made some plays this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is a
Hardy made some real plays this year. People are going to want all these guys. And then Nyheim Hines, obviously, with the jet ski incident that happened last offseason, his season didn't get off to how anybody probably saw it goes. They say $4.66 million. Von Miller, who at one point, I believe, and once again, these contracts are always so, you have no idea what's real and what's not real because agents are given a number, teams are given a number, the NFL, the NFLPA, salary cap, debt. Like, we don't know what's real, what's not real with anybody's contracts, but seems to be an overall agreement. I think he had over $10 million guaranteed coming up to him next year.
Wow.
So he restructures his contract down to below what his guarantee would be for next year. Like, that's an insane move for a future Hall of Famer to make.
For sure.
But we've heard Von Miller chit-chat about how much respect and appreciation he has for Brandon Beane. And Brandon Beane has told us how much he appreciates Von Miller. So I assume they just handle business. Von understands the situation and does all that. That's a big team move. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's a big, team move by Von Miller. Hey, good on you, Vaughn.
Right, Vaughn.
I assume there's a lot of people in the NFLPA telling him you cannot do that. That is not good precedent for us to set going forward, that you're going to agree to less money after a year where you didn't perform your best that you're supposed to get so they can restructure their salary cap, that's their job. There's probably some people telling him that in the world. And Von Miller said, no, I like the Buffalo Bills. I would like the Buffalo Bills to be great. I'm okay. I've made enough and I keep him moving. I assume there's a lot of incentives for him to be able to get back and get way above that. Maybe some more motivation. Maybe he's excited about that. But that's a huge move by Von to say, hey, I'm here for the team. Taylor Rapp got extended. Mitch Trubisky got signed.
Nice.
And now there's conversation, obviously, about Josh Allen's contract being changed from a salary to a signing bonus so that they can prorate that entire number over the duration of his contract so you can cut his salary cap hit basically in half. This is the salary cap gymnastics that everybody's doing that I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick maybe have started back in the day as the move.
Yep.
Every one of our friends on the team, except for you, got cut yesterday. For salary cap moves. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, next Wednesday by 4 p.m., they have to be under the salary cap. But, when you think about some of these massive names to the culture and the pillars of the team, what are your thoughts on the decisions that Brandon Beane had to make? And how do you think Buffalo Bills fans are taking them?
Well, let me start with, I don't think it's hyperbolic at all, guys, to say that this was a historic day in franchise history. I had people comparing yesterday to me to the day back in 2000, I think it was, the day they released on one day, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, and Andre Reed. Now, look, I understand that those guys went to Super Bowls and they accomplished more as a team. I get it. But that's the kind of day it was for the Buffalo Bills and their fans. You're talking about pillars and cornerstones of this organization over the last 6-7 years since Sean McDermott took over and what they've accomplished. They're the second most winning team in the NFL since then. Obviously, the Chiefs are first, and the Chiefs have Lombardis. The Bills don't. So I understand it's not completely apples to apples, but it was a historic day. As far as how the fans are feeling, well, I did my morning show this morning. I was on the morning show at WGR this morning, and I asked, Bills fans to basically describe it. And most of the fans actually responded in some way with, it was necessary, it was needed. Like, nobody's happy about losing these players, but the Bills, it came time for them to start a new iteration of them. They're still trying to win with Josh Allen, his prime, and with that comes some really tough decisions. It's a sad day, but I also think that a lot of Bills fans are really looking forward to what they may be able to do going forward to kind of reset it a little bit here.
Well, I assume friend of the program, Brandon Bean, and the boys over at the Bills. What is the Bills' address? Do they have like an address that they're described by the rest of the Buffalo?
One Bills Drive.
Okay, so I'm assuming everybody at One Bills Drive was very happy to hear your morning show this morning, where fans were like, instead of killing them. Not only about the bison only being 16 feet tall,
Right, of course,
but also about because those types of moves can go two different ways with the public. Whenever you get all those guys pretty popular, I'd assume, and Bills fans are very thankful for. And when they've been there for as long as they've been there, you don't want to obviously you have to make decisions that your fans aren't going to like, but you don't want to turn them off either. You don't want to piss them off and make them think anything. So the fact that they're being sensical about it, I assume One Bills Drive is thankful for it. Let's talk about One Bills Drive. What does this mean for the future now? So how do they replace all these incredible players? What do you think the thoughts are? Free agency's coming up. Obviously, they're not able to spend big money. Are they looking for veterans? Do you think that they're going to try to pay cheap? Do you think... I think there's 11 draft. I don't know 10. How many? I don't know how many draft picks. A lot of draft picks. I think. What are your thoughts on how they're going to go forward now? And can the team win still? You think?
Well, as long as you have 17, you can win, right? I mean, I think that it's nonsense that suggests the Bills' Super Bowl window is closed.
Hey, that's everywhere this morning, Sal.
Yeah.
That was everywhere this morning, Sal. That was everywhere.
Well, I know people say that, but look, I mean, the fact is, we know a couple things. Sean McDermott is going to really coach up that defense, even with all the injuries last year. Say what you will about having a defensive head coach instead of an offensive head coach and how that can kind of change the dynamic of the offense. The one thing is that we know Sean McDermott is very, very good defensive mind and coach. Did a ton of injuries last year, and they're still one of the best defenses in the league. We also know that this is the opportunity for Brandon Bean with You're right, actually, Pat. They have 10, but it will be 11 once they get a comp pick from the Tremaine Edmonds, losing him last year. Gotcha. So there you go, my man.
Do my research.
But while I was out in Indy, where I didn't see you, Pat McAfee, Brandon Bean actually did say, to me, he sounded like a guy who was much more optimistic about their salary cap situation than what we make it out to be. And obviously he knew these moves were coming. Now, they're getting close to where they need to be. The Tre'Davious White move doesn't save them anything until June 1st anyway. They're going to restructure Josh Allen, I would think. That's going to get him another probably close to $20 million. They're going to have some money to play with. Now, the question is, do they use that money? Can they go big game hunting? I don't think so. They will look for some bargains, but I do think there's room to get a guy who maybe they can say, look, we'll put some void years on it. We'll spread the cap out. We really need you. But, man, those 11 draft picks they're going to have, Pat, they have never been shy about trading around and even moving up. And I wonder if this is the year where the Bills say, heck with it. I'm going to go and move up and get the wide receiver we want. They've been talking a lot about explosive plays, adding that to the offense. And on top of that, they met with more wide receivers at the NFL Combine than any team met with wide receivers.
Mad Mel told him that. I think that was what when I heard Mad Mel talking to Brandon Bean, that was one of the things he was speaking directly at him, not letting Brandon Bean talk about. Going and moving one of the 11 draft picks, feel good about that.
Nailed it.
To move up is good. That's a lot of ammo to make a move in the draft. You talk about Josh Allen restructuring for $20 million. How about Von Miller restructuring? Do you think the Buffalo Bills fans realize that? I think he was supposed to get more guaranteed money next year than the new restructured deal that he agreed to. So normally these things are turned into like signing bonuses and you're not really losing out on money. And the way it was initially reported was restructures his contract for the good of the team. What a hero here. When really you're just getting money that you're supposed to get over the next 12 months on one day, and then it's able to be spread out over the next 4 years. Von Miller actually takes guaranteed pay cut here to restructure his deal that a lot of people thought was huge, I think, immediately upon being announced whenever he went to Buffalo. Do the Buffalo Bills fans realize that? You think that he did that? And what do you think that means about Brandon Beane and Von Miller's relationship in this entire thing?
Yeah, we actually had some calls and tweets come in today that said, hey, I know that Bills fans are kind of, down on Von and he didn't have a productive year, but man, kudos to him for doing this because he did. He took a straight pay cut, it seems like here, guys. I mean, he took the guaranteed money and said, okay, well, a lot of that I can earn back in incentives. But if I'm going to do that, then we're going to be better as a team and we're obviously going to accomplish a lot. I wonder, and I don't know this, I wonder if Brandon Beane went to Von Miller and said, look, if you don't do this, we might have to release you. And then Von said, coming off the injuries, the fact that he's his age, would he even get that much money on the open market? I don't know. But the bottom line is he did take a pay cut. It's going to save them about $8 million on the salary cap this year, but he's going to have the chance to earn that back in incentives. And as far as their relationship, as you guys know, Von wants to be a general manager in the NFL. He has made that very clear to us. I can only imagine the conversation of Brandon Beane going to him and going, hey, Von, want to be a general manager? You got to have these kinds of conversations with guys like you sometimes. This is what happens.
Well, yeah, not bad leverage, too, if you're a GM and you're Von Miller trying to negotiate somebody's deal and say, when I was at my end of my
Yeah, me. True.
Like, I had already made enough money.
Look at this.
Just like you have. I have. Now it's time to go on, for the good of the team so we can build. That's not bad leverage later, if that is the move in that entire thing. Buffalo Bills are going to look different next year.